Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before I get into the main subject today, just a couple of, well, actually three minor things to discuss. Number one, I was talking the other day about having exactly 13 subscribers, and I was hoping for at least one more, up to 14, because 13, many people believe, is an unlucky number, and I don't want anything bad to happen to me. Well, I checked my subscriber number last night, and I'm up to 16. I got 16 subscribers. So, first of all, thank you very much, all you new subscribers. I hope you'll stick around, and I hope even more that you'll encourage other people to subscribe. But most of all, I feel much safer now from bad luck, because now I am 3 above the vital 13 number. So I'm not expecting anything really bad, which is especially important for me because my next door neighbor has a black cat, and it does occasionally cross my path when I drive. It likes to, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but the cat likes to take a snooze or camp out in my carport in the evening when I'm coming home. So I drive up in my car, and there's that cat lounging in my carport. So I don't know if crossing in front of a car counts as crossing in my path, but why take chances? So I really appreciate it. Now we just have to get through, well, today, Friday the 13th. I hope that we get through okay, not just me, but all of us, because if it's Friday the 13th for me, it's Friday the 13th for everybody. Okay, so now on to other subjects. Breaking news, at least at this moment. This came only a moment ago. You may already know about this by now because I record these the day before. But here's the headline. U.S. Attorney recommends proceeding with charges against McCabe as DOJ, the Department of Justice, rejects last-ditch appeal. So looks like at least one of the deep state denizens is going to be accountable, have his day in court, and face the music. I'll just give you one quote off this article. The potential charges relate to DOJ Inspector General findings against him regarding misleading statements concerning a Hillary Clinton-related investigation. Take a wild guess, it's the emails, the classified emails. That whole affair stinks to high heaven, so it's nice to see. Well, he's innocent until proven guilty, so as a loyal American, I assume he's innocent for now, and of course I would like the charges not to be true, and for him not to be convicted. But having said that, now we switch into Schadenfreude mode. After all the trouble he's put just about, well, a lot of people associated with Trump, what they have been put through by Mueller, especially, well, Manafort, and well, Manafort was guilty of a crime, to be fair about that. But you have Michael Flynn, whose attorney is appealing right now, trying to get the charges against Flynn dismissed. Not going to go into a lot of details right now, but if those charges are dismissed, if that conviction is thrown out, then which is what I should have said, because they had the trial and he was convicted or admitted guilt or whatever it was. If all of that is reversed, just think of the trouble and the expense that Flynn went through. So I hope, as far as McCabe is concerned, that he's put through just as much trouble and expense, if not more. And what I'm really hoping is that if, because he's presumed innocent, he has to cop a plea, I hope the price will be implicating other people in the deep state, because I think there is a big food chain here, and I think it goes all the way up to the White House. You can disagree with me in the comments. That's what they're there for, but that's what I believe. Now, next item, and this is getting us right into the main topic. This just came in too, not too long ago, but, well, headline again. Greenpeace protesters dangle from bridge in Houston and cause part of shipping channel to close. Greenpeace activists were hanging by bungee cords from the Fred Hartman Bridge in Houston in an effort to bring awareness to climate change by blocking the Houston Ship Channel. The protest, which comes hours before a Democratic presidential debate, led to the closure of part of the channel, the Coast Guard said. Quote, "We're in Houston shutting down the largest oil export channel in the country to resist Trump and the oil industry for fueling this climate crisis. It's time to end the age of oil." And that's a tweet that Greenpeace USA posted. So, well, if you want to join in the fight, and if you have a little spare time on your hand and a spare bungee cord, then go ahead, hang yourself from a bridge to protest if it makes you feel better, which is what this is all about. It makes them feel better, I guess. But do you think the whole oil industry is going to shut down? Do you think anybody's going to put 1 gallon less of gasoline in their car because of these jokers are hanging from a bridge? And this is another video I'm going to have to do someday about this whole practice of Democrats and liberals acting out, of hanging themselves from bridges, chaining themselves to doors of whatever, I don't know, animal testing laboratory, whatever they're angry about. And they're always angry about something, and they like to put on costumes and they like to march up and down. I'm not saying that Republicans don't do that sometimes, but with Democrats, it's really endemic to them. They're constantly angry and they're constantly protesting and they're constantly demonstrating to no effect except to make themselves feel better. I have a special window on this. As I've said in the past, I lived in New York for 40 years, so I'd see these jokers because New York Times Square is a favorite place for them to demonstrate. They also, when Trump was elected, they demonstrated in front of Trump Tower. They did that for days. They also demonstrated in front of the Plaza Hotel, which Trump owned for a while but hasn't owned in a long time. I guess it's just because it's a big space, and it's I just remember having to walk through these people to get to my office at that time, which was on Madison and 59th Street, 1 block away. So anyways, this leads us into our main subject. Now, this Democratic debate, which you will have seen by now, but it was held in Houston, and Houston is governed by a Democratic mayor. It's a Democratic city. So I believe that's true of Dallas too. I'm not going to look it up. In fact, I'm pretty sure that major big cities in Texas, like big cities in other parts of the country, are governed by Democrats. So number one, if you like what you see in San Francisco and Los Angeles with hypodermic needles on the street and the feces and the homeless people who produce both of those things, well, if you love that, then you're going to have fun looking forward to the same thing happening in Texas. And I think I read about something like that already happening in Austin. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not going to look it up now. It's not germane. What is germane, though, is that there have been articles. Well, this is one article I want to talk about right now. It's about the Democratic dream of turning Texas blue, so to speak, of Texas going from being a reliable conservative state to becoming another liberal democratic state like California. And this is because actually the people fleeing California to move to Texas because of what liberals have done to California. Now, the distressing part to me, and this is what this article is talking about, it's talking about the people migrating from it's not an exaggeration, I think, to say the failed state of California to the wildly successful, booming state of Texas. I'm not surprised at all, but what bothers me is that, well, I guess you could say the impression would be here that people who are voting Democrat in Texas increasingly is because they're seeing the light, because they don't support conservative policies. The ones that made Texas such a booming state, that they've had a change of heart, and that's not the story at all. What it is, it's these Californians, former Californians, that have fled California and moved to Texas. Now, I was hoping that the situation would be similar to my own. I lived in New York for 40 years, as I've said, and I moved to Tennessee because of what liberals have done to New York after they got finished doing what they did to Detroit, which was my hometown. Well, it is my hometown, but I left Detroit 40 years ago specifically because of what liberals did to Detroit, and then I had to leave New York because of what they've done to New York. But unfortunately, reading this story about Texas, I don't think it's my situation at all. My situation is that I'm a conservative. I was actually a liberal in Detroit, and I became a conservative from seeing what happened to Detroit, and it was reinforced when I moved to New York and I saw what was happening in New York, except for that brief golden age when Giuliani, a Republican, was mayor, and following him, Bloomberg, who ran as a Republican and became an independent. He's very liberal socially, but he continued to run the city pretty well. I won't say as well as Giuliani, but pretty well. But after him came de Blasio, and, just down into the toilet. But what I'm seeing in Texas, it looks like it's liberals fleeing California to Texas. That's fine if they learn from their mistakes and they saw what liberalism and liberals did to California and said, okay, I'm going to move to the conservative state of Texas and I'm going to change my ways. I'm not going to vote for what destroyed California, what's destroying California. I'm going to vote for what has made Texas arguably the most successful state in the country right now. But it looks like they haven't learned. It looks like they are going to vote for the same things they voted for in California. I can't figure out why they would want to do that, except they're, well, number one, they may be in denial, but number two, they may be thinking, well, it's going to work this time. It didn't work in California, but we'll try it again in Texas, and I'm sure it'll work fine. The reality is they're moving into a booming state, and they're figuring, well, we can enact all our policies, vote for Democratic candidates, and everything will be fine. We can redistribute wealth and have more welfare and regulations and not take homeless people off the streets. We can do that in Texas because Texas is a booming state, a rich, wealthy state. But so was California before liberals got to work on it. And if these liberals that have moved to Texas get to enact their policies, if they haven't changed their ways, then the ultimate result is Texas becoming like California, not just in terms of the poverty and the homelessness and the just overall dysfunction, but you would have a Democratic, well, as you have in California, a Democratic legislature and a Democratic judiciary and a Democratic governor, such that conservatives would never be in power again, and then the rot would just be permanent. I also worry, if I can just move to another state for a second, metaphorically, New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a live free or die state, has no income tax, but I remember reading not too long ago that New Hampshire was considering enacting an income tax. Why? Because of all the liberals who fled the high taxes in Massachusetts, and now they're doing the same thing, apparently, in New Hampshire in terms of enacting the same policies that drove them out of Massachusetts. So I don't know. I'm wondering if liberalism is, you could call it an exaggeration, and you can argue with me. Again, that's what the comments are for. But I wonder if liberalism is a disease. At once, it's like The Walking Dead. Once you get bitten by the liberalism zombie, that's it. You can't go back, and it can't be stopped. It only spreads from one state to another. In my case, from Detroit to New York, and well, we'll just see what happens. I hope things work out, but the pull of liberalism is strong. It really is among some people. Apparently, once you're infected, that's it. You never learn. A few people do. I did, so I want to be fair. I was a liberal, and I changed, but things had to get very, very bad before I saw the light. That's it. Thanks for watching again. Hope to see you all again soon. Thumbs up if you liked the video, and share it with anybody you think would benefit from it. I already said about the comments. You can put comments in there, and you can subscribe if you haven't already. If you're not one of that golden 16 who have already subscribed, you can subscribe, you can add to their numbers, and you can encourage others to subscribe. And you can come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again, and bring your friends and the family. Fun for the whole family. Gene Schwimmer, fun for the whole family. So until we're ready to have more fun, bye.